It's a different feeling, obviously, than most days when you're a basketball player or a basketball coach. We were all excited, and I'm really happy and excited for our team because I thought down the stretch we played good enough basketball to enhance our seed, and I think you could see that happened today. So good matchup for us. We obviously don't know a lot about Western Kentucky right now, and it's always one of those mindsets where you just look at your first opponent, you don't worry about what's next, but we're looking forward to going back to California. And when I saw the bracket come up, Imani's eyes lit up because she gets to go back home. So it'll be fun to get back out there, and I like where we're at, and really proud of our team.
You haven't lost out in Cali this year.
That's right. That's right. Headed right back out there.
What about this team's worked hard to overcome a lot of adversity, a lot of things have happened.
Right.
How rewarding is it to see them get that seed and now you got to take advantage?
Well, you just as a coach and a player in particular, you train all year long. I mean, you train in the summer, you train in the fall, and then you go through a long grinding season where everything that you're doing is because of today. Your goal is to get to the NCAA tournament, to put yourself in a position where you can possibly win some games, get to the Sweet 16, and then when you do that, you never know what happens. So it's a long haul for an athlete, for a student athlete, and this is the culmination of all of their hard work, which is seeing their name come up on that bracket. So I'm excited for them. Again, they've worked hard, definitely been through some ups and downs, but I'm proud of their resilience.
That really tough stretch. Were you thinking 5 seed is a possibility, or?
Oh, you didn't think about seeding at that point. I think we started to think about it a few weeks ago when we realized that if we didn't kick it in gear, we were going to get on the bubble, and there were some things that really needed to jog their brains and our coaching staff's brains and everybody around our team, which was, we need some urgency about us as a program, and I do think that they recognize that, and we quit talking about anything like that. We started talking about how can we finish this season on an upward climb, and I thought that we talked about it with about 10 games left. We talked about the fact that the committee and everybody that is involved would look at the last 10 games. They wouldn't really look at what happened when NECA got hurt. I think they would look at our body of work, which the first semester, that speaks for itself. And then they would look at how we finished. Did we overcome some things, or did we just fall in a hole and fall apart? And I think that the team really responded to, let's do something different here and get this thing going in the right direction. I'm really proud of them.
How was it for the team? You have your conference tournament that ends a week before or so the NCAA
Right.
tournament. How beneficial is that, or is it bad? Does rust build up? How do you guys deal with that big lag?
Well, I think the fact that we played, you could go back to, in fact, I did go back to it really for my own sake to say, okay, how proud am I of this team? Because we go back and look at the stretch that we had where we went to West Virginia and lost a heartbreaking game. Terrible road trip. I mean, it was from the get-go. It was not a pleasant road trip at all. And then we had to turn around 24 hours later and play TCU. And then turn around 3 days later and play TCU again, or 4 days later. So that stretch, and then play 3 straight games in the Big 12 tournament. So that was a tough stretch. It was a 7 days of tough basketball that really meant something to our team. So first things first, you give them a few days off, because they earned it and their bodies and their minds needed it. They did have to go back to school, unfortunately for them, so they had to go to class. And they rested a few days, and then we took one really hard practice day. Then we took a day where we did some individual work, which I thought was really good for them. Let the assistants just kind of have them and work on the positions. And then we went back at it for a few days. So we've periodically gone hard and then done some things lighter. So I think they looked really good today. I was very pleased with their energy, their enthusiasm. You could tell it was Selection Monday today.
How important is it that you're going into the tournament with a little bit of steam behind you, 7 out of 9?
I think it's important, but I think you also look at our opponent, and they probably feel pretty good about themselves. So everybody does. I mean, you get in the tournament, you're bound to feel pretty good about where your team is at. So I mean, we have to refocus. I mean, everybody wants to win this time of the year, and we just have to figure out how we can execute a little bit better than we did in some games down the stretch. You know, they're all going to be close games probably. So we got back to some basics this week, and also I do feel good about the fact that I think some individual players are playing better basketball right now. In particular, Monty Stafford. I told her today after practice that it was one of her better practices I think I had ever seen since she's been here. She's playing confident. Timing's back, so I think that adds a different dimension to our team. She had a really good run in the Big 12 tournament, so I think we're shooting the ball better than we were at one stretch in the season. So I'm really excited about our team and where we're at.
Not to go too much over old news, but was there a point in the middle there where the team's kind of feeling sorry for itself and you need to get over that to get where you are now?
I think it was just a tough stretch. I don't know that they ever felt sorry for themselves. I think it was an emotional stretch where I really, again, I don't think they felt sorry for themselves. I mean, maybe they felt bad for the situation that had happened and bad for their teammates, and dealing with some emotions of losing a leader on your team. But I don't think that they ever got to a point where they just felt sorry for themselves. Definitely life lessons learned this year, for sure. Everything doesn't always go your way.
How fun was that California trip? I saw photos.
It was fun.
Going places, meeting people. Recall the whole deal, I guess.
It was fun. Seems like a really long time ago, though. It was fun, though. We played really energetic basketball in California. Played free, played together as a team, really shared the ball well. We were really good defensively. Energy was great. And our team is at its best when we're full of energy, when we don't really worry about, when we share the ball really well, we don't worry about it, seem to be stress-free, is when we play the best.
What's your schedule as a coach? Are you going to the film room as soon as this meeting is over? How do you prepare?
Well, it's different than it used to be because of technology. I mean, you can upload games by the time I walk down there, Mark, our video coordinator, will have games on my computer. Lots of technology enables us to not have to sit in a film room together and push a button. Our coaches take different aspects of the game, so we all get on our computers and do separate things according to scouting purposes. So we'll meet back up here. We were planning to practice at 8:30 in the morning. I'm not sure we're going to go that early right now. We're still waiting on a lot of information.
Coach, you mentioned what you guys did in the first semester, and obviously your record against teams that maybe don't know you as well as conference opponents spoke for itself. Is that something that you remind your team of, that just the fact that you're about to hit another stretch of teams that maybe aren't as familiar with who these conference teams are, and you guys, as you mentioned, played a lot. You played very free, you played very
Right.
You were able to thrive in that environment.
I think it will be beneficial to our team because of the Big 12 having 10 teams. You play everybody twice. By the time you get to the second round of Big 12 play, I think we all know, I told Craig a minute ago, I think everybody knows what gum each other's chewing. And it's a grind. It gets to a slow down grind. The last 8 games of Big 12 play are ugly. Everybody knows every single thing you're doing. So I think just to feel a little more free as far as knowing that your opponent doesn't know every move you're going to make, they maybe don't know tendencies of the players as well, I think will enable our team, this team's personality is a little better when they can feel like they can be a little more free. So I do think that it will be a good thing for them.
Why do you think that is, that some teams thrive better in tournament settings than others, or thrive better against teams that maybe don't know them as well?
Well, I mean, I don't want to be I don't think this is a critical statement at all, but I think sometimes our team struggles in the half court. I think everybody can see that. And so the honest truth is we're better if we can get out in transition. We're a little bit better if everybody doesn't know every move we're making offensively, because we struggle sometimes when things slow down and execution becomes the priority. We're young in some real critical spots, so execution at times was difficult for our team. I do think we improved on it, and again, we went through stretches where we didn't shoot the ball well against the zone, and that's something that I've felt really, really good about late in the year, to the point where everybody stopped zoning us. So I feel like we improved in some of those areas where we maybe are a little better at whatever pace we have to play at. But again, I think everybody on our team would say they would rather get up and down.
Karen, one of the biggest compliments and criticisms of Texas is that you have a deep bench.
Mm-hmm.
The criticism part is Texas doesn't really have a go-to person, but you better watch it if 9 or 10 of them are actually engaged.
Right.
What's it like to coach a team where you don't necessarily have a superstar, but you have some really good, great players in bunches?
I think it's good for when you get in situations where you're in foul trouble and you can go to the next player who's ready, who has a similar skill set. I do think that there is good and bad to it. I think it's always good if you have a player that if you know you need a bucket, they can go get it. And, for example, even if you have a player that you know can own the backboard, I think you feel a little freer to take shots because you know you're going to clean them up. I don't know that we have that go-to person that we would run a play for and know that they can get us a bucket, although Empress Davenport has been very timely throughout the year at getting us particular buckets. So I think the ability, especially when you get into tournament play and teams haven't seen maybe your speed or haven't seen your personnel, now I feel like maybe we can go back to some of the things that sort of just went to a grinding halt, which is our presses. I feel like we are back to a healthy standpoint where we maybe can press a little bit in the tournament games. And again, if we could get out in transition, our team is much better when they can steal a few buckets, whether it be by pressing, whether it be in transition. So I do feel like it is better for our team to be able to use all of our personnel.
Will Nakia play?
Nakia is not available.
Not available.
Not at all.
What's this team's expectation in this tournament?
I really think that they expect to get to the Sweet 16. And I don't say that arrogantly at all. This opponent that we're playing is really good. And we will take one game at a time. There's not any question about that. But I do think if you ask them, what do they expect? It would be nothing less than to get to the Sweet 16. And then we've talked about the fact that you get there, and just as Maryland got there last year as a 4 seed, and all of a sudden everything started clicking for them, and you never know. But we have tried to take steps every year, and obviously that would be another step for this basketball program.
In that sense, does it feel differently this year? I mean, the last several years it's felt like such a struggle maybe
Yeah.
to get in the tournament. Now, is it a different feeling?
That's a great question. It does feel different. It feels like it was an expectation. We feel really proud, deserving of the seed, and deserving of being in the tournament and representing the Big 12. I think that it does. It definitely feels different. It feels like we belong, for sure.
I did see the end, or we didn't. Did TCU get in?
They did not.
Western
5 teams got in.
5 teams?
Mm.
A little disappointed.
I am disappointed. I'm disappointed, but I think it's a credit to our administration, to be honest with you. Our leadership at the very top from the get-go when I got this job was we need to play really good people in non-conference. And that's part of our philosophy at Texas, is to put ourselves, and I think Rick would tell you the same thing. I think it's something that we want to do as a basketball program, is play some high-level non-conference games where, you know, they're in the forefront. And those games were very, very beneficial to our program this year. And I think if you looked across the board in the Big 12, that would be the only thing you could possibly say as to why those teams that were on the bubble did not get in. And I don't think it is a reflection of our league. I think it's a reflection of the non-conference schedule. So obviously we will talk about that in spring meetings, and I'm sure there'll be some changes made maybe in scheduling, because you see all of us beat up on each other, so you would like to think that they're all qualified, but the body of work was obviously very important.
Coach Barnes said guard play is critical during this tournament. Is that the same for the women's game too, or?
It is, but I'll go back to Fran's question earlier. I think guard play is extremely important because you start talking about making plays when the games are on the line. But I also do think you have to have a bunch of guards so that if you get in foul trouble or you have another one to go to, or if you're having a player have a bad night from a shooting perspective. But I also think a go-to player makes a big difference in the NCAA tournament.